What is up, everyone? It's your boy Farai, and today we're going to be looking at some good habits to get into while recording in FL Studio. If you're somebody that is used to recording within FL Studio, but things tend to get quite messy, these are some nice good habits to get into. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is step one in your project ever. Once you're ready to throw your beat onto the project, I recommend finding the tempo of the beat. So if you got a beat maker that is giving you the BPM, it's easy. You just set the BPM up here. And it should be the first step because, once you've recorded a whole bunch of stuff, so this is an old session that we've done, you'd have to manually go and actually, set auto to all of your recordings, and it might morph the audio. So, for example, if I look how the whole project moves, you don't want that to happen, right? I'm sure there's a way to, let's try, for example, here, turn that to auto, let's see. Everything still moves, so you wouldn't want to do that afterwards, right? So what I would, and you can also count your bars easily. So that's 8 bars right there. It works with a metronome. Tick, tock, tick, tock. You know what I mean? So it's just easy to see visually. The easier things are to deal with, the better your recording is going to be. So, there are two ways to do this. You could either allow FL Studio to detect the tempo, right? So we know the tempo is 88. FL will pull up 87.96. I don't know if you really want to do it like that. Another way you could do it is to, for example, I've got another track here. You could manually adjust it until you see the first transient, which is usually a kick drum or something. So let's just switch over to here. So we got that beat, and let's just pretend we want to go to like 9 bars around, because that's usually where the beats would start. We can kind of just do that. You know what I mean? And then adjust the tempo right up until we see that transient. So now we know that the tempo is at 69. Let's check it out. Tuck. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I mean? So 2, 3, 4. So they're easy stuff, right? So that's another way you could do it. Let's just get back to our original tempo, which was 88. And yeah. The next thing you could do, which I like to do, is the easiest method. You don't have time to be wasting it. Adjusting tempos, you can just use something like Tractor, right? So let's just pull up a beat. Where was the beat that I had? So this is the beat that's in the session, and there you go. You know what I mean? 88. It identifies the tempo. Easy stuff. Trust DJ software to do that. So yeah. The next thing I'd like to talk about is pretty much exporting, right? So exporting and pretty much just all your administrative work while recording. I would advise you to set up your channels as you're recording, or as you finish recording them, route them directly to a channel and then name it. That'll make sense a lot later in the session when you're done recording, because when you want to send track outs or something, you can actually physically send all of these track outs, and your engineer can go, okay, that's his verse, that's his hook, that's his left, that's his right, background vocal, etc, etc. So there are two ways to export files within FL Studio. If you're sending it to someone else who uses FL Studio, you can send them the whole session, and pretty much what you want to do is you want to go to File, Export, Project Data Files. What happens then is you can find your folder, and then you can just kind of throw it into a folder, and then all the tracks within the project will send over, right? So there is a way to get rid of the non-used clips. I forget where that is. I'm sure you could find that in the manual. But, that makes life a lot easier, because then they have the exact same session as you have here if you're going to be doing a bit of editing, and that kind of stuff. So yeah. But the problem with that is if they, for example, don't have the L2 limiter, for example, then it won't sonically sound the same. So the best thing to do is to export and track out your WAV files, right? So the only way your track outs are going to work properly is if, for example, here we have the verse, right? So okay, that's the left. Verse is over here, sorry.
Big time men feel like Manny Fresh. I don't need the stress. Young super chef.
So you know what I mean? There it is. It's all in one track. All the mono vocals are in one track.
Fit for what I do.
This is run through output gear. That's why it's all on one WAV file. But everything needs to be categorized that way. If you only have one track and for example your background vocals and your mono vocal are routed to there, you're going to export the stem with both of those things comped on top of each other, so that's a big problem. The engineer can't split that again, it's a problem. So yeah, you just want to export WAV file. Whoop, we went for MIDI file or MP3. Don't want to send MP3 track outs. And the most important thing is, so for example, we got an export stems folder. We want to get rid of the labeling. So we just want to leave it a .wav. And FL Studio is nice enough to sort out the files for you. So for example, we have verse.wav, dbx in monovocal.wav. You know what I mean? It's just way easier. Everything will line up. You know, a track out goes from the beginning of the song all the way to the end. So for example, it would be this whole WAV file, but plus just kind of a line. So your track out would look like that. Easy stuff. Hope you learned something. Feel free to like and subscribe. Recommend me any videos that you'd like to see. VST Day. We test out plugins every Tuesday or Monday. So yeah, have a good one. Peace out.